Well, hi guys. Welcome to another edition of Eek Acres. I'm getting ready to go out to the pole barn, so I just wanted to show you something real quick. This entryway that I'm in right now is unfinished. We haven't gotten to this part of the house yet, but it's soon gonna be done. And I've been doing some work in here, and I wanted to show you something here real quick. This piece of drywall right here, I cut out of there. This wall right here to the stairs going into the house came all the way down to the subfloor right there. And as you come in this entryway to this unfinished subfloor, and all this has got to be painted and everything has to be done in here. We're going to be painting the doors. When you took your shoes off here at the bottom of the stairs and then it goes down to the basement, it created a trip hazard, and Bridget didn't like it that footwear would be here, and I didn't either. And she's like, what are we going to do about that? Well, I went down in the basement, and the floor joists to the house run about right here. Right here is where the floor is to the bedroom. There's a bedroom on the other side of this wall, but down in the basement, it was just two 2x4s running down a wall with drywall on it. So I cut the drywall out and built a plywood box out of 3/4 inch plywood that's even with the subfloor, because when we do the floating floor down here, down the steps and on this floor, it's going to go into there. So there will be no transition. It'll just be a floating floor. It goes all in there, all finished off. But this is all just 3/4 inch plywood, and it's solid. And then out in the barn, there was pine moldings, and I mitered these just using my jigsaw. And I don't think you can get any more perfect of a miter with using that type of a tool than that. But I finished it off by framing it in with the pine moldings. And then this will, like I say, get a new floor, and then we can paint in there and everything. And this will be all finished off. But now there's a place to, when we come down and kick off our shoes, and I'll show you with just a slipper, we can just put our shoes and our boots and everything in there. And then when this door is opened up, none of the footwear will be in the way. And all I did was take this Ryobi multi-tool right here. It's got a light on it, and it's got this little flat saw blade. And I just went through the drywall, and I just went and cut a nice straight line, because I drew the line with my level. And I stayed right below the joists of the bedroom floor, and created this box. So I'll come back down here a little bit. So when you come up from the basement, that's what you see. And when it's all finished off, it'll look nice, because like I said, we're not done working in here yet. So, and I cut this out because that's how it used to be. It was just the wall coming all the way down like that. So now we got a place to put footwear. Finally got the shelving unit taken apart. So there's 2 dock sections laying over there, and right here's the other 2. And I got a pile swept up here that I have to bag up, and then it's onto that door right there. But boy, this place is really getting opened up and cleaned out here, you guys. I still have the swing sitting here. So I'm here at just our coffee corner. There's a reason why I just showed you what I just showed you with making that footwear box at the bottom of the stairs. I hope you guys listen to what I have to say, and please don't fast forward through this video, because I believe it's truly important. Trying out my new coffee cup. An outdoor homestead channel, Eek Acres. What I wanted to talk about in this video is, even buying that cup was a fiasco. Ordered 2 of them. Bridget had these made up, and she ordered 2, one for her, one for me. And we got them in the mail yesterday. And when we opened up the package, there was one mug in there that was correct. And the other mug was a mug that had pictures that went all the way around the mug to the handle of a husband and wife and their children. and it had their name on the mug. Somebody ordered that mug, some family, and they didn't get it. And it might have been a Christmas present. And instead it was in with one mug that says Eek Acres. And then it was that mug of a family. And they probably got the other Eek Acres mug. So she contacted the company and they have to make it right. But my point of this video is, you guys, is that every single time, which isn't often, thank God, but when I go out into public and I go away from home and I go somewhere, I am seeing the deterioration of this world getting worse. Because every time you encounter people that don't know how to do the simplest of things, everything today is a screw up. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter what you buy, it's everywhere today. Last night, we were invited down to my buddy's house, George Amargi, and for after Christmas get-together. And so Bridget and I had to just get a quick supper because there wasn't enough time to cook dinner last night and then get down there because we had other things to do. So we just stopped at McDonald's real quick. And being there at McDonald's, and I don't really care for the food, you guys. We just needed a place to eat real quick before going down there. And Bridget got a chicken sandwich. And when she opened up the sandwich, it was just a piece of crispy chicken on a bun with only 2 small circular pickles. No sauce, no mayonnaise, no lettuce, no nothing. Just a dry piece of chicken in between a bun with 2 pickles on it and nothing on it. Just plain. And it's like a $7 sandwich. I told her, I says, these kids today, lots of people today, it isn't just kids, but lots of people today just don't know how to do anything simple. And as we sat there and ate our meal in the parking lot, I was looking in the rearview mirror and I saw a bunch of kids, different ones, like in their 20s and 30s, going to and from the restaurant, from the gas pumps. And some were going in to order and stuff like that. And I didn't see one. And it was cold last night, and there wasn't one that was even wearing a winter jacket. Not even a jacket at all. No windbreaker, not even a hoodie. Short sleeve shirt, wearing either pajama bottoms or sweatpants, no socks, and wearing slippers. I see this everywhere I go all the time. It's like either they just woke up or they're just not with it. And the reason why I showed you what I showed you is because that boot box that I built, that area that I cut out and built a box inside the wall, so footwear will be out of the way of the door for shoes and boots and stuff like that. That's called problem solving. Finding a solution to a problem that is an easy fix. It's not that hard to do something like that. It's 3/4 inch plywood and you're building a box and you're spiking it to the frame. And now I know not all kids out there are either not smart or lazy, but a lot of them are. I'd have to say it's probably 90% if I had to guess. Because if you threw a piece of plywood down on the ground, if I went over there and got a piece of wood out of the barn and threw it down here on the concrete and told a 20-year-old kid, build me a 5-sided box, 4 sides and a bottom. Build me a simple box like that, square, where all the pieces are the same size, square. I would be extremely doubtful that a young kid today could even do such a task, to even just build a simple box without even putting a lid on it. Something like a crate. If I asked a young kid today to cook dinner, 20, 30 years old, would it taste good when it was done? Would a kid that age be able to even cook a dinner? When I think about all the things that I've done on this property, from clearing this massive yard on this acreage, putting up the flag, removing the door from that end of the barn and putting it on the other end, What do you think a contractor would charge to take a door off one end of the building, cut an opening, and reinstall it at the other end? What do you think that would cost just to have a contractor do just that? Just moving a door to the other end of the building. What do you think that would cost? If anyone knows, because I'm not up on prices with professionals today on what they charge, because I like to do stuff myself. But if you know what that would cost, put it down in the comments. I'd greatly appreciate it. What would it cost to hire a carpenter to build that box in the wall for footwear? What do you think they would charge for that? Or the 16-foot long shelves double tiered in the basement. What do you think a carpenter would charge to build that? What do you think a contractor would charge to take down a 16-foot wall inside this pole barn that was 2x4 constructed with OSB spike to it? What do you think they would charge to do that? How about hiring a painter to paint? How about hiring a professional to put in a brand new kitchen? I put in a brand new kitchen for Bridget, and Bridget laid the floating floor in the house that goes right into the bedrooms. What do you think somebody would charge to do that? When I look at all the work that her and I have done on this property, from putting in stone steps going down to the creek, putting a bridge across the creek, doing this barn door, clearing this property, doing painting, doing plumbing, putting in a new bathroom vanity, a brand new kitchen, it would be thousands of dollars, I'm sure, to hire that all done. What about hiring an electrician to put in 4 ceiling fans that I installed in the house and putting in different receptacles and light switches? What do you think an electrician would charge to do that? My point is that these kids growing up today, if they don't have simple basic skills, by the time they're the age to get married, what kind of a man is that boy going to grow into for his wife when she says, honey, I would like to have a closet in my bedroom, or honey, I would like to have some shelves in the basement, or I need some cabinets installed out in the garage to put things in? If he doesn't know how to do that, I hope he makes 6 figures a year, because he's going to have to hire everything done, and it's going to be expensive, because there's nothing cheap about owning property or a house. And I don't even know any kids today that are capable of wiring a light, putting in a switch, a receptacle, installing a door or a window, or even building a subfloor, doing framing, doing molding work, installing new locks and deadbolts. The list goes on and on. And you think about how much it costs to do all that stuff. When I go out in public, it doesn't matter if I'm going to the doctor. It doesn't matter if I'm going shopping. When I go out in public, I see the deterioration of society. And it's not good. It's getting worse. And if you raise a kid that, whether it be male or female, that doesn't know how to do anything, you know what you end up with? You end up with somebody like Biden, who can't even hardly tie his shoes or finish a sentence. And if my dad was alive today, who was a World War II vet, a military man, if he would have seen what's in office today, he'd be absolutely appalled and pissed and worried for this country, as I am, and I'm sure you are. And now we're going into an election year, and I can only imagine the type of civil unrest that will ensue this coming year. And yesterday, while looking at Google News, I saw a story that was from a major network like CNN or something like that, where they said that coming this next year, which is only days away until we're into 2024, and they said in the news that for 2024, 1/2 of the United States, from the Midwest, from where Bridget is from, all the way to the East Coast, because the eastern side of the country is more populated than the western side. They said the whole eastern half of the United States is going to experience, quote unquote, power outages that are going to be frequent and long lasting, and it's going to happen all the time. It's going to become the new norm. And I'm always suspicious when someone predicts something like that, because it's like, on purpose? How do they know that? How do they know that's going to be a problem? Well, it's because a lot of things that they want us all to go on to isn't going to pan out, and people are waking up to that. So when I look at what the younger generations don't know how to do, when you get into a crisis where the luxuries of life start to go away, what's going to happen? Because if a young kid doesn't know how to build a plywood box, how are they going to know how to survive? How are they going to know how to do the things that they need to do? They probably don't, and they won't. And therefore, they probably won't survive. Because in an SHTF situation, you got to have some know-how up here, my friend. You got to know how to do things. And the less you know how to do, the worse off you are. Survival isn't about having the right kind of equipment. It's not about having the right kind of tools. It's about what you know in your head. If you're not educated in the areas you need to be educated in, then when things fall apart, how well are you going to fare? Nobody taught me how to do anything. So for people to say, well, the parents aren't teaching these kids, and a lot of them aren't, and that's true. They're not teaching their kids when they should be. But even when kids aren't taught, like I wasn't, my parents didn't work with me and teach me anything, and I sure as hell didn't learn anything in school. They didn't even teach you how to balance a checkbook in school. And I quit school. I learned what I learned because I had the drive and the curiosity, and I wanted to know how to do these things because I knew growing up, not being cared about or no one cared to take care of me, it's like you're on your own. You're just like a wild animal. Stay out till 2 o'clock in the morning and play in a pigeon hotel, an abandoned factory where I could have been killed. It's like I knew how to take care of myself. And the only way I was going to be able to take care of myself is by knowing how to do the things that I knew I was going to need to know much later in life. And boy, has it panned out for me. Everything from auto mechanics to landscaping to construction to carpentry, electrician, you name it, it's panned out. And by knowing the things that I know how to do, I've saved Bridget thousands of dollars, because if we were to hire this all done, we would be broke. You got to know how to do things to save money. You got to be able to come up with ideas to improvise. When you want something, you find a way to create it. That's being creative. And it's also fun to do that stuff. But these kids today, they worry me. I remember a scene in the movie. One of my favorite movies of all time was The Breakfast Club. And it's because it reminded me of my days in school. And I, like Judd Nelson, the one who portrayed the character of being the rebel outcast in the movie, that was me in school. I was just like Judd Nelson. Didn't have many friends, was not popular, and was voted the most unlikely to succeed in life. But see, they didn't know what I knew and what I was doing after school. I was learning things, tinkering, working on engines, teaching myself stuff, learning how to build, how to straighten nails. What got me into building is that there was a company back in those days called Anderson Screw, and they had a lot of pallets out back, and they would give the pallets away. So while all the employees were inside screwing, I would be taking their pallets, and I would take the nails out, and I'd straighten them on the sidewalk with a hammer. If they were bent, I would just, put the high side up and just pound them straight and flat. And then I would take that lumber and I'd make something else out of it, usually a clubhouse, a fort, something like that, or a go-kart. A lot of my go-karts were made out of wood in those days. And I was like the little rascals. I was always doing stuff like that and teaching myself, learning how to straighten nails, how to pound nails, how to pry apart lumber and do something else with it and repurpose it. That's how I got my building abilities. That's how I learned how to measure, how to do different things, and how to create something out of nothing. But these kids today, they're not even interested in that. It's not what you see in this world that is worrisome. It's what you don't see. It's kind of like when I go to a trout stream. When I was a kid, kids would fish. And as a kid, I'd run across other kids fishing. Now, as an adult, you go to those same streams or anywhere where there's water, and rarely do you see anybody in their teens or 20s or 30s even bothering to fish. They'd rather be home, sitting in front of a computer, playing video games, or in front of the TV. They don't have any desire to learn any skills, to do anything, to use their mind and their imagination and put it to work and create something. They don't care to create anything. They want to be entertained. They have to be stimulated artificially. And it's sad because as a species, that's what's going to be our demise. Do you really think anybody would have survived in the 18th century if they didn't know how to do anything? You either knew how to do stuff in those days or you didn't make it. And that's why the cemeteries are full of young people. Because if plagues and disease and sickness didn't get them, their stupidity did. The stakes were high in those days. And like everything else, history repeats itself. And someday we're going to have to go back to the manual old ways. And that's why I tell people, don't get rid of manual stuff. Like a can opener, for instance, a crosscut saw. Own things that don't rely on an outside source like electricity or a generator and stuff like that. Stuff that don't rely on gasoline. It's important. It's how you survive when things get bad. It's putting the stuff from the old days back to use. Because it served a purpose at one time and it will serve a purpose again. You got to think about that. So back to my point on the movie The Breakfast Club. I kind of forgot what I was talking about there. Got a lot on my mind. There was a scene in that movie where the teacher was down in the basement rummaging through the files, and then Carl, the janitor, caught him. And then they started having a conversation down there, and I remember the teacher said to Carl, he says, "You know what scares me, Carl, about these kids today?" And he says, "What?" He says, "This is the generation one day is going to be taking care of us." And Carl told him, he says, "I wouldn't count on it." Because, see, they viewed a lot of these kids the same way back in those days. But it's getting a lot worse. It's getting a lot worse. It doesn't matter if you go through a drive-through, if you order something through the mail, if you go into a store, you encounter people in general that just don't know how to do simple things. And it's very, very scary. It's like, what the hell has happened to the human race? Nobody knows how to do anything. And the stuff that I do isn't hard. People look at the stuff that I do and tell me in the comments, it's like, well, you're amazing. You know how to do it. No, it's common sense, you guys. It's just common sense stuff. Installing a door is simple. Putting up kitchen cabinets is simple. It's all easy stuff. You just got to have the willpower to do it. To just do it. That's how you learn. Win or fail, that's how you learn. You'll make mistakes, but that teaches you how to do it right the next time. But you have to start doing it. You have to learn something. These kids today aren't learning anything. So as these kids go off and get married, and like I said, the wife wants something. Honey, put a door at the other end of the barn. Honey, let's put up some cupboards. Let's lay a new floor. Let's put up some ceiling fans. He's going to be Googling the nearest contractor because I bet you money he's not going to know how to do it. Because nobody taught him, and he didn't have the incentive to learn it on his own like I did. It's pathetic. It's pathetic, and it's why I don't like even going out in public anymore. I'd rather just stay on this property and just tinker and do things and do work and fix things and create things and use my mind and just keep myself sharp by always exercising my mind. Why the world out there wants to be brain dead and play video games and not be able to do their job correctly, not know how to do anything other than just sit on the couch and go through a bag of potato chips and watch TV. It's pretty alarming. It's pretty alarming when people don't even wear the proper clothing to go out in public. They don't even put on a jacket when it's cold out. They can't be bothered with it. And they don't know how to diagnose anything. They don't know how to fix anything. They don't know how to build anything. They just, there's some that do, but the majority don't. There's even adults I know that don't know how to do a damn thing other than change a light bulb. I don't know what the hell happened to mankind. But back in the old days, people knew trade all the time. Everybody knew trades. Everybody knew how to do something. You had a blacksmith. You had someone that made wagon wheels. You had another guy that had a leather shop that made goods out of leather. all that stuff is dead and gone now. It's pretty much extinct. Unless it can be plugged in and it's computerized, nobody knows how to do anything. It's really, really sad. I'm glad I'm not a part of that crowd. Thank God I'm not, because if the power does go out and things get bad, I'm going to know how to improvise. I'm going to know how to improvise. Doesn't matter if the water's affected, no electricity, no heat. There's ways to get around stuff, man. You just got to know what the hell you're doing. But I see it everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, I see it. And I just shake my head and I tell Bridget, I says, what the hell? What the hell happened to the world? Where's things gone? It absolutely blows my mind. Blows my mind that people can't even do simple things. Can't even build a simple ladder. And if you don't believe me, ask a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old to do something simple like build a ladder out of 2x4s or build a 5-sided box. Tell them to diagnose a lawnmower that doesn't run good and ask them, say, what's wrong with it? And see if they can figure it out. I bet they don't. And I bet they can't. And it's a shame. I don't have children, but if I did, you can bet your ass they'd be taught every single thing that I know. And I'd tell them first what to go do. And then if they couldn't do it, then I'd show them how to do it. And I'd say, and this is how you do it. And you better remember this. And then I'd have them build up on that. I'd want their knowledge to expand. They wouldn't be sitting in front of a TV playing video games at all. And it don't matter if they're male or female. They'd know how to get a lawnmower running that doesn't run. They'd know how to diagnose a problem on their vehicle when they're having problems. And they'd surely know how to build something that they need and install things that are crucial. Because I would not be raising dumb kids. But I don't have kids. But I'm worried for the ones that are out there. And I'm glad that I got 20 or less years left. Because where this world's going scares the hell out of me. And I'm not looking forward to this election year because I know just what a circus nightmare it's going to be. And it's all by design. The whole thing's a scam. So I'm going to get some more things done today. And I'll continue sharing some things on how to do things in my videos as I do them, you guys. And I look forward to seeing y'all in a video again. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate it. It helps my channel. And we'll see you guys again in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.